not surprised that they, switched everything. We expected that. We scored 69 points in the second half against the same defense. I think we just got a little stagnant and didn't want to move. And you got to move. You got to play with force. You got to get to the next thing. Sometimes, and you'll have to ask the guys this. I think sometimes the expenditure of energy on one end, and you don't have it for the other end. I thought our guys were playing hard on defense in the first half, and then just the second opportunities, and that continued. During our comeback, there were a number of possessions where got to stop, but they ended up getting an offensive rebound and end up scoring on it, or there's a loose ball, they get the loose ball. There was a few plays there. The 88-80 to start the fourth, and we get two wide open threes, and maybe that's a momentum change. We just the big momentum changing sort of stretch we just couldn't muster, and a lot of that had to do with just the second opportunities.
JJ, Luka just 6 for 17 tonight, and then defensively it felt like they were targeting him a lot in pick and rolls, and even when you guys would maybe put him on someone else, they'd find a way to bring him into the action. What did you make of his night on both sides?
Wasn't his night.
JJ, in the first half when you guys weren't scoring, it seemed like a lot of that was missed threes, but it was like your shot profile seemed to change. Like, I want to say like 8 and 9 foot twos, stuff like that. Like, what were they doing on that? Was that anything?
It was not what they were doing. It was what we were doing, and we showed them at halftime. The spacing, alignments, and having the wrong guy in the dunker spot, the wrong guy in the corner. It was not. Again, the structure of what we were trying to do against Reds, and what every team tries to do against Reds, is create the proper spacing and create the proper next guy and create the proper guys in the corners, and we just didn't have that. And you end up with turnovers, and you end up with a bunch of non-rim twos.
Is that disappointing, considering kind of the mentality that you would kind of ask your team to have in terms of like, we need to play we need to build playoff mentality now, and that's focus and stuff.
Yeah, we're still building it. We're not there.
You mentioned weeks ago, don't remember how long ago, but you mentioned that before the trade in February, you guys were really good against switching. Then you guys went through maybe a little bit of a lull against it. Were you surprised by how much you guys struggled against their switching, at least early on, before you guys seemed to recover and had the second half you did have offensively?
Not surprised. I wouldn't say surprised.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Lakers play the Pelicans in the second game of a back-to-back on Friday.
Austin, when you look at this one, you guys kept it between 7 and 10 all game long, eventually got it there to 5. What kind of kept you guys from getting over the hump down the stretch?
They did a good job offensive rebounding, and we did some defensive rebounding. I think at one point in the third quarter they had, 14 offensive rebounds for like 25 points. So we did good on first shot defense, and then when you give them, second opportunities, they do a good job of getting offensive rebounds, spraying out the shooters, and making shots.
JJ mentioned it wasn't necessarily what they did, but you guys not being able to get to the proper spacing or spots within their coverages. How much of that obviously played a part in finding that rhythm, and what's the challenge of finding it when you need it late?
Yeah, I don't think it was a problem late. I think it was more so the first half. There was just a pretty bad stretch that we, just didn't play very good. We wasn't organized, and against a team like that, most of the time Reds 1 through 5, with that second unit, you had to be organized and run your stuff, and we just didn't do it.
What's been the biggest challenge when you guys have faced teams that switch everything for you guys?
Just trying to figure out what works for us. You see flashes of things we do that are good, and then we kind of experiment with some other stuff, and it doesn't look so good. And we just got to figure out what we, can do as a unit to, combat their, 1 through 5 Reds.
JJ mentioned that guys, but just showed you guys film during halftime. What did you guys see or pick up on during halftime that helped you guys in the second half offensively against their switching?
I mean, we always watch film and half, a couple clips, like 7, 8 or so. Just things that we didn't do good, things that we did do good, and just, you know, try to dissect the game halfway through it to give yourself a better chance in the second half.
I think what JJ told us was that kind of the goal here over these last couple weeks was to start building a playoff mindset where attention to detail ratchets up and those different types of things. Better in the second half, but disappointing, I would assume, you know, that in the first half that you guys got so unorganized. What needs to get better on that front?
I mean, you're not ever going to play a perfect game. You wish you could, but I lost what I was going to say. What'd you ask again?
Just basically about, like, you know, in terms of, like, knowing that you guys need to play more detail-oriented, attention to detail basketball to then have a 7 or 8 minute stretch where it seemed like offensively you guys lost a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, but, you know, that's part of the process of, you know, becoming, you know, a really good team. You got to go through, you know, those ups and down battles of you know, going through situations where you have to figure it out. You know, if everything was always, you know, smooth sailing, if at any point in the future it doesn't get there, if it's, you know, a little rocky, then you kind of don't know what to turn to. Once you go through things like this, you have to adapt and to adjust, and, you know, that's what we'll do. So, you know, we'll be better.
The portion of the first half, again, when Golden State was in the switches and you guys got a little bit stagnant, what do you think happened there, and why do you think that happens once in a while for you guys on the offensive end?
Yeah, I think, we had a good start. I think we scored 15 points in the first 5 minutes. And after that, we kind of was struggling. But I think it was because of our defense. You know, we couldn't get stops. And they were getting all this second chance, you know, the rebound, offensive rebound and stuff. So we weren't getting the rhythm, you know. That was the problem. And the third quarter, we came back in the same way. But, yeah, they just didn't miss the shots, you know. Kozinski, he made a lot of, you know, big threes. You know, he made 8 threes. Yeah, that's you know, it's a tough one. And then we got almost 24 seconds, and Draymond make threes in last second. You know, it was a tough one for us, and yeah, that was a game.
You know, I know you guys always approach it one game at a time, but this does make things just a little tighter in the West. Is there any additional urgency for the remaining games of the season, really?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. It's every game, especially all those last games. I think we have 7 or 6, whatever the games. They're all against the West Coast team, West Conference team. So we gotta get all this, and, you know, literally every game we change. It's just standings that are changing. So yeah, every game is important. Next game, and yeah, we just gotta get all this and then get ready for the playoffs.
Rui, the offense has struggled for stretches the last 2 games. Is that a byproduct of the opponent, or has it been struggles from within?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the team start kind of, you know, we watching. You know, they're watching films. You know, they see a lot of, you know, they try a lot of things with us, and they see the, you know, our switching. You know, they're basically 1-5 switching, and I think they kind of saw that was the, you know, they can kind of have a chance. They have a chance to kind of, you know, close our offense. So we've been working on that, and we watch a lot of films. And today was okay. You know, we did a pretty good job on that. But I think we have a lot of, you know, space to improve, you know, our offense. So we gotta you know, watch the film and then come back for the next game or whatever the futures game.
I was just talking to Austin. You guys kept it between 7 and 10 all game long. Eventually cut it to 5. What kept you from getting over the hump?
Shot making, offensive rebounding. I mean, they was making shots. Kozinski had a big-time game. Kuminga came in, gave him a big boost off the bench. Obviously, Steph does. But, you know, it's too many second chance points. couldn't get over that hump, like you said.
Were you guys able to really find a rhythm, and versus a team like this to not, if you weren't able to? What's the challenge of getting through that?
I mean, it's always a challenge anytime you play Golden State. I mean, it's been like that for the last over a decade. So probably since like 2014, you know, when they really started to get it going. So we know it's always a challenge against them and keep you off balance all game, and you just got to try to figure it out, which we did. We did offensively. We were really good, especially in the second half. We had 69 points in the second half. That was not the reason we won there, but to win.
There was that stretch at the end of the first, going into midway through the second, where I think you guys missed 13 or 14 shots. What were you seeing during that stretch from you guys offensively, and what did you guys correct in the second half?
No, we just missed. I mean, sometimes it's a make or miss league. I mean, we was getting some really good looks. You know, we just weren't able to make at that point in time, and they were able to make, and that's how they was able to build up that 13-point lead at half.
As you continue to work your way back after the absence from the groin, do you feel like the second half tonight was one of the kind of a segment of the game you can point to, like I feel like I did pre-Boston?
That was the best I felt before the injury, for sure. I just tried to press, get downhill, my rhythm as far